Good morning, everybody. This is Juanita Gibbs. I wanted to jump on really quickly and just share with you what was laid on me this morning. There are so many times in our life that we get to that place of what we call Gethsemane. And for a lot of people that don't know about Gethsemane, if you ever watched The Passion of Christ, you'll probably remember it starts off with him being in a garden, and he was in the garden praying to God. And you also can research this in the book of Matthew, the 26th chapter. I have taught this so many different times, but this morning I just wanted to come and I just wanted to share with you about how we're going to reach a place in our life at some point that will feel like the Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, when you think about the word Gethsemane, you are thinking about the word crushing and oil press. When you're in that crushing and you're in that breaking and you're in nothing but raw pain, you are experiencing nothing but pain and hardship, and a place where you have a choice to surrender to God's will, or you have a choice to follow after what your flesh is saying and what your emotions are saying and what your carnal mind is saying. We're all going to reach that place of Gethsemane. And as I was writing, I was praying to the Lord about, certain things in my life. And the weight of it was so heavy. I just had to get before God, even while I was driving. And I just had to begin to cast that thing on him. And so when you reach this place of Gethsemane, you remember this, when Jesus was at that place, he began to cry out to the Lord, and his suffering was so bad that as he was praying, he was hemorrhaging, he was sweating blood. Drops of blood was coming off of his skin because he began to feel and sense what was ahead of him and what he was about to face. When you know that you are about to face everybody that you have walked with, everybody that has looked you in your face and told you that they love you, but because you have a relationship with the Holy Spirit, he is forewarning you that you are about to go through the worst season of your life. And I'm not up here to speak any negativity towards anyone, because sometimes when you begin to let people know that you may enter into a hardship, they're like, well, you're speaking that, you need to still speak life. Yes, I want to speak life, and I want to, encourage people. However, I don't want to lie to people, because there are times in our life that we will experience hardship. And, we know what to do when things are going good. I mean, we enjoy those times. Most of the time we don't even, some of us, we don't even pray up. We don't even study because things are going well, so we don't feel a need to seek the Lord. But when you have a real relationship with God that is not hinged off of whether it's good and what you're getting in, then you're hearing the voice of the Lord forewarn you about things that you need to pray up about. So this morning, the Spirit of the Lord was just, heavy upon me. And, I was like, God, is this what you felt when you was in the Garden of Gethsemane? Now, I know that I'm not experiencing the extent of what Jesus felt, but we have portions and different degrees of what he felt when he was in that garden. And so therefore he can relate to what we are feeling in our heart when we feel heartbroken, or we feel betrayed, or we feel denied and rejected and abandoned. The Lord feels it because he's been there. The word tells us that we have a high priest who he was tempted in all different points, because when you're at that place of crushing, when you're at that place where you don't know what to do, you don't know who to go to, mentors that said that they would be there for you, but don't even pick up the phone and call you, don't inbox you, don't message you, don't do anything to encourage you. And when you reach that point where nobody is there for you, you know, in that position, in that place, it's hard because you don't know where to turn, you know. And so when you're in that position, you know, the only thing that you can do is rely on God. That's all you can do is rely on Him. That's all you can do is run to Him and give that burden, give that care to Him. He's there for you to talk to. And I know sometimes, you know, we want somebody there in the physical. You know, we want somebody there that can say, you know what, hey, it's going to be okay, and encourage you and wipe your tears away. But we won't always have that. But when Jesus was in that garden, you know, He knew that His best friend would deny Him. He knew Judas would betray Him. And I mean, to have all of that pressure on Him, and at the same time having to pray just so that His will can be in submission to God's will while He go through this. Because when you're going through hardship, everything in us wants to hit a fit. Everything in us wants to walk in our flesh. Everything in us wants to give up and just say, God, I just can't do this. Everything. And if you have not been to this point yet, I mean, I know people like to dress this thing up and they like to make it look like they don't have any problems. They don't have to press through anything. Everything looks great. Come on, let's just have a good old time. But, you know, they're going through too. You just don't see it. That's why it's important for people to be transparent. That's why it's important for people to allow themselves to be open at certain times, to let other ones that are just coming up in the faith or ones that are just starting in ministry, to let them see the real deal. And so, you know, I'm up here today to let you know that this morning I came to that place of Gethsemane. I came to that place where I'm like, God, you know, I'm out here. Who's going to be with me? You know, I mean, I don't see the whole picture. But, you know, as I begin to release that to Him, I can begin to see all of that toxic, whatever I was feeling, you know, from the outside, begin to fall off through my prayer time. Listen, you guys, when you're at that Garden of Gethsemane, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to run to God. Run to Him. Don't run away from Him. I want you to run to Him. Because a lot of the times when you are going through that, you want to run to somebody that can't even really help you. You run to people that are not even on that level that you are on, you know, that level in that place. Like, for instance, you know, I'm a pastor, and that doesn't make me better than anybody else. But that function, you know, I go through as it relates to the call that I have on my life. That call is heavy. And so what I look like going to someone that has never, you know, pastored, you know, they don't know that heavy weight. They don't know what it is for people to turn their back on you. They don't know what it is for people to walk away from you that said they had your back. They don't know what that feels like in that call. Now, I know that some people say, well, you know, I've been there before. You know, my friend left, you know, my husband. And I know that, you know, they have experienced that. However, I'm talking about suffering as a pastor. Suffering as a pastor. So, I mean, I just can't run to just anybody. You know, and so, and whatever you may be going through, some people might be, well, like, you know, you can just go to me, you just come to me, you know, and all, and you know what, you appreciate them. You appreciate them for thinking of you in that way, but we can't always go to just anybody, you know, and because everybody don't understand that weight. Some people, to be honest with you, they won't even pray for you. They just want to hear that you are going through so that they can talk about it. Or some people are waiting for you to fall. But just because you are going through a hardship in your life does not mean that you have done anything wrong, so to speak. It just means that you entered into, or you came to that Gethsemane in your life. And when you get to that Gethsemane in your life, you're going to need a prayer life. I'm telling you, you're going to need a prayer life. When your heart is broken, when you feel like things are being snatched from you, when you begin to see that things is not the way that you envisioned it, because some things you got to go through to get to. You got to go through it. And if we had our own way, we wouldn't go through it. If I had my own way, I wouldn't be going through what I'm going through right now. I would find the easiest route to take. Had I seen all of this, I would have had chose my own will and my own way. And most of us would. But Jesus, he was at that same place where he could have did what he wanted. He could have chose the comfortable way. He could have got out of that. And guess what? We would not have a chance to go to heaven. We would not have this chance to live in this spiritual place that we live in, the supernatural place. He died. He suffered that all of this entire nation, this world, can live to please him, to live so that we can experience eternity. But not everybody will accept it. Not everybody will receive the work of the cross. And I said all this to say this, that no matter what you are going through right now in your life, no matter what it is, it may be betrayal. It may be the loss of a loved one through death. It may be that your best friend walked away from you. It may be that your church is going through the greatest shaking of your life. But whatever it is that you are going through, run to him. Because this oil that is being pressed out of you, you're going to be able to tell it. You're going to be able to look back and you're going to be able to tell somebody how God brought you through this thing. Even though Jesus was getting ready to face the worstest thing of his life, and he did. He faced it. God gave him strength. And even though he was getting ready to face that, guess what? He was brought through it. It was the worstest. There was no other way. He had to go through it. His answer was yes. What will be your answer when you're in Gethsemane? Always remember to keep that prayer life. There were some things I was stumbling on, but y'all get the message. Y'all get the message. So pray. Seek his face. The Lord, he always lets me know when I'm about to go through a trial or go through a season in my life that will require me to get before him for the strength. He always lets me know. I love him for that. Sometimes my heart get to racing, or I'm like, oh God, help me get through it. But because I have that relationship with him, he always lets me know. And listen, you keep your relationship with God very consecrated, because he will let you know as well. All right, you guys, I'm getting ready to go. You guys have an awesome Saturday evening. And remember to always seek his face, always to keep that prayer relationship with him.